Welcome to the now. Welcome to your LeveLsoM. Do you really need a welcome to the now? Well, I'm going to give you the welcome to the now because you're tuning in to my output, my work here. LeveLsoM podcast. Now, you might be used to hearing this music, and I'm going to come out with some gloves and a little cut-off shirt sleeves and etc. If you know anything about what I've put out. A lot of the times when I make these, I'm really talking to myself, at least for the next month when I start getting some listens on these little episodes. It's a poor attempt of humor, folks. Welcome to the LeveLsoM podcast, where we go over anything, but we will also be going over strategically every week reviews of AEW Dynamite and perhaps WWE Pro Wrestling. But nonetheless, within those standard weekly reviews, we will go over anything within the review of the show. If you don't like it, hey, I hope you like it. So we're going to start off this week sending out immense willpower and care and appreciation and respect to everyone across the planet in this now. And I don't care what the news says, the fake news, whatever you want to call it. There is no now that is more important than any other now. Every now is infinitely happening. That means there's infinite potential in every single now. So there is no now that is more important than the next. The only thing that matters more than anything is your ability to admit your honesty within you in any given right now. So what you have here in this LeveLsoM podcast is going to be some daily motivation, or perhaps some weekly motivation. You can use it as daily motivation because you'll be able to probably listen to it every day if you want to. Timeless episodes, even within weekly review shows. Because it's about mental wellness, mental health, wealth, prosperity, abundance, and monetary value, that is physical money, is the least to do with abundance and prosperity. Abundance and prosperity is all about your internal atmosphere, your ability to understand that your existence is the very infinite wealth you search for. Are you going to honor this infinite wealth? Will you honor yourself by living and standing for only your honesty? You see, it's your lack of integrity to stand for yourself that allows you to think that you have to go get riches. It's your lack of integrity to deal with yourself, to stand for only being around people who are going to respect you honestly. It's your lack of ability to want to do that that makes you think you have to go outside and win some rat race and win a race that says you had the most money in the bank. And then the fear worship that justifies you having to have this money in the bank. Sure, you don't want to have nothing in there. Sure, you don't want to have nothing at all. But wow, should it take up and preoccupy all of the energy in your brains to just figure out how to make it more money? When you figure out how to earn through your work and love of passion for yourself, for what your innate abilities are, then you learn money is secondary. For your mental clarity is first and foremost. Folks, if you subscribe to the notion that you're going to die, what are you so afraid of then? If you're going to die anyway, why not live unapologetically within your honesty no matter what? If that means you got to have less money for a little bit of while or some moments here and there, so be it. If you're using that as an excuse to not live in your eternal now honesty, then you're a coward. You want to call me a labeler? Then go ahead. But we got enough cowards walking around. We need people who are confident. We need people who are self-loving, because that's what this age of Aquarius is asking for. That's what's going to be the now, the new now. What? There is no new now. There has always only been the now. Choose courage. Choose honesty. Choose dignity. Choose optimization of the self. You want to get mad at me because I don't quote enough Bible texts? You want to get mad at me because I don't take the Bible literally? That's fine. Do you take your words literal? Do you understand the words that come out of your mouth are creating spells? That's why it's called spelling. I'm not going to give you all of a bunch of EMC squared stuff on every single episode, but I will be giving you that a little bit more on videos. Stay tuned to the LeveLsoM YouTube channel. That's YOU space ARE space LeveLsoM. You are LeveLsoM. Excuse me for the slight saliva down the windpipe cough. I love giving you the info. Did I have this right? I'm seeing people's stories on Instagram going crazy if somebody coughs. It's ridiculous. Okay, have fun with it for a little while, but understand the paranoia you're allowing you. Oh yeah, I still got some residual spit in the windpipe. Oh, did somebody say he's got some type of other fluid in his windpipe? That's right, folks. This podcast is rated whatever you think it should be. But it's not for little kids, but is it? The information you learn here is going to be immediately valued for you to relay to any offspring little kids you know. Okay? Forget okay. It's all right. It's all right, all right, all right. LeveLsoM. Check out the flow. Now, my new platform here allows me to have 45-minute segments. That's right, folks. Spiritual comedy, spiritual insights, LeveLsoM podcast, AEW, All Elite Wrestling, Dynamite reviews, pay-per-view reviews, World Wrestling Entertainment reviews, Major League Baseball, XFL, there's no more, NFL, whatever you want to call it, sports, movies, to Hollywood. We'll go over anything. Does the sun move around the earth? Or does the earth move around the sun? Whichever way you want to look at it, do you know how to be honest with yourself? Do you? Can you drop a dime of honesty at a second's notice? Will you admit? Do you allow mental clarity? Or do you worship being a phony? It's all right. Whichever it is, subscribe to this channel. Share this channel. Subscribe to the YouTube. Understand. Check out some of the other episodes. Check out some of my stuff. Yeah, some of my stuff has 2 views. Understand. The one is in the all. If it weren't for you, you would know nothing to exist. You would not be able to fathom anything being right or wrong. At least not in the way you know you're able to do it now. So without you, what would exist? Feel it. You can go on and on and on all you want about, sure, but if I get incapacitated, if I pass away, but y'all will be here, fine, but you won't. Will you be experiencing it in the way that you know of right now? You have to say no to that. At least 50% of you would have to say no to that. Because you don't know. So with that being said, what you do know is that if you didn't have consciousness, if you didn't wake up out of your sleep, none of this would exist. None of this would exist as far as you know. As far as you can consciously tell right now. If you didn't wake up out of your sleep, none of this would exist. So the one is the all. The all is the one. Now this is with all due respect to the other. Because when you look in the mirror, you see you. Appreciate it. Even if you have a twin, appreciate that when y'all look in the mirror, you see who you do. Because nobody else does. Which means nobody else is going to be able to leave the imprint Nobody else is going to be able to do the real, true soul source work that you can, how you can, because no one else is you, even though we are all connected to the same infinite source, human conscious energy. The creator source energy. You want to call it God, Krishna, Christ? That's it. The Most High. Source energy. Yes, we all come from that. We are all always, every single now, and faster, connected to that. But the beauty of the infinite creation, appreciation of this materialistic realm, is the fact that even though we are all connected to that, it's you that has your vessel. Only you. It's only you that has the source energy fragments that you have inside of you, and how you can output them, how you can if you put yourself to do real, honest, soul source mission work. LeveLsoM podcast. LeveLsoM podcast. You are LeveLsoM. You are LeveLsoM. You are LeveLsoM. LeveLsoM are you. LeveLsoM are you. LeveLsoM are you. We are LeveLsoM. We are LeveLsoM. We start with AEW Dynamite. Dynamite. We kick it off on the April 29, 2020 edition of AEW Dynamite. And we're going right away. We kick it off. Jericho's and Tony Schiavone going to be on commentary. These guys are doing an excellent work on commentary, given the fact that these are different times. It's not our usual commentary team, but they're doing what they can, and I love listening to Chris Jericho and Tony Schiavone on commentary. Cody Rhodes, he says a draw is a loss to him. That's a winner's mindset. You know, Darby Allin, Cody's in his suits and ties. But you know what, Darby? He's still ranked number 1 through all of it. But Allin says he's relentless. So that means he has the right to win this tournament. But does Darby Allin eat, sleep, and breathe wrestling? Cody asks. As far as Jericho is concerned, they're both two idiots. Here we go, entrances. Allin coming down to the ring, 5-2, 5 wins, 2 losses in 2020. Darby Allin's AEW career, he's 10 wins, 9 losses, and 1 draw. Here comes Cody Rhodes. 2020 record, 7 wins, 1 loss. Overall AEW career record, 14 wins, 6 losses, 1 draw. The draw for both individuals was against each other in their first meeting in AEW. They scored a draw. Cody won the second one with a little bit of help from Arn Anderson, which Darby Allin made sure to reference. He got beat by Arn Anderson. Might want to second guess that one. But nonetheless, Arn Anderson got involved, and Allin's blaming his loss on that. This match was a drag-out brawl. Jericho reminds us that Allin wears no makeup on his face he wears half makeup on his face because he's half dead. This match is rugged. It's a real fight feel. They're trying to do their usual swiftness, but it's got a real fight feel. This is the trilogy for them. This is their 3rd matchup in AEW. Things are kind of getting a little bit more personal now. Cody's got to win this. If Cody doesn't win this championship, he hurts the most. You could say that maybe Dustin does, but not really, because Dustin Rhodes has a tremendous career under his belt. I don't think Dustin Rhodes has ever been heavyweight champion anywhere he's ever worked, but nonetheless, he's had a Hall of Fame career already. I don't know if we can say that about Cody Rhodes yet. I don't know if we can say that about Cody Rhodes yet. I want to, because of what he's worked so hard thus far for in his career to bring to us AEW, the number 1 source of professional wrestling on the planet today. But with that being expressed, Cody Rhodes needs this one He's got the most to lose out of all of it. Even though, you say, oh, he can just come back and fight for the TNT Championship again. That's true. But he won't never get a chance to be the first TNT Championship. And with all the Rhodes history with TNT and Turner and going the Dusty Rhodes and what this is reminiscent of for this entire bloodline and family, the Rhodes family, for either Dustin or Cody to not be the first ever TNT champion is a tremendous loss to me. I mean, it is. Well, can they win it eventually? Absolutely, of course. But for them for both of them to have the chance to be the first ever TNT champion and for neither of them to possibly get it, that's a loss for the Rhodes. Okay. With all due respect to whoever might win it. But I want to see, and I've said earlier, I would have liked to have seen Dustin Rhodes get this championship first. And I just gave you a little spoiler alert first. If you didn't see the show, yes, I would have liked to see if Dustin Rhodes get this title first. But if you just follow along with me here and just stay with me here on the show, you'll learn that it ain't, at least as of right now, it ain't going to be Dustin Rhodes. But right now we're talking about Cody and Darby Allin. This was a real rugged match feel here. They're doing everything. And okay, here we go. We're going to just trade each other's finishers here, back and forth, left and right. We'll just trade each other's finishers ridiculously. We'll have Darby Allin do a crossroads. Cody will kick out. We'll have Darby Allin do a figure four. Cody won't submit. We'll have Cody do a coffin drop, but he'll get reversed. Allin drops knees in his back. And before we get to the next gimmick infringement finisher, we'll go over a spot that Brandy Rhodes was involved in where she took an injury angle. Jericho is a pretty funny spot here on the commentary. Jericho calls Cody an incompetent moron or idiot for injuring his own wife. He probably did it on purpose. And it looked like it could have been. But maybe, who knows what kind of teamwork tandem the American Nightmare family goes over. I mean, they call themselves the American Nightmare, the Nightmare Collective. So what kind of dastardly tactics could they have up their sleeve? After that injury angle, Brandy Rhodes comes back out with some water, which is highly irregular. As much as athletes are going to have water. It's just a little weird to see wrestler's manager coming back out after an injury angle to give them water, of all things. Which begs easily transition into, what was in the water? And Jericho was all over this part. What's in that water? Jericho got tongue twisted himself, saying there's no water in football or hockey. Wait, what? Exactly. Gold on the mic for being a full-time wrestler, or much more of a employed wrestler than a commentator. So Brandy comes back, and Cody gets a clean sip gulp of that water before Darby Allin confiscates it from him and smashes it across Cody's face. However, it would prove too little, too late, as although Allin would still manage to hit his own move finally, a coffin drop, it would be Cody who would, on the last second, manipulate the coffin drop pin into Cody's own pin for Cody to pick up the 1, 2, 3 clean in the middle of the ring, and for him to advance to the finals of the TNT Championship Tournament. Now, this match is a little tricky here. You might look at this match and think that, well, it's weird. Cody escaped by the skin of his teeth. Well, I beg to differ. You see, it was Allin who used Cody's move against him first, and he couldn't pick up a pinfall. You see, it was Darby Allin who used Cody's other move against him first, the figure four, and he couldn't pick up a pinfall or submission. Okay? Now, it was Cody who tried Darby Allin's coffin drop next. And to Allin's credit, he reversed it. He gave him a bag of knees right in Cody's back. But it still wasn't enough to get Allin over the hump. And then, Allin is able to hit his own move. And he gets reversed and loses. So while it may seem like they were pretty even, or maybe even Allin had the advantage throughout the majority or the better part of this match, I say it was probably one of those 52-48 deals with Cody having the 52. I have no argument if you say it's Allin with the 52. But nonetheless, look at the finishing spots. Cody dominated all the finishing spots. Yes, did Allin kick out of some crossroads from Cody? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Did Cody Rhodes need a crossroads to defeat Allin? No, he didn't. He just needed a backslide and Allin's own finisher. So what are we going to hear Darby Allin say next week as an excuse? That he beat himself? Let's see. Shout out to Darby Allin. Hey, you're respected. But you got to bring a better game if you want to win gold. Congratulations to Cody Rhodes. He picks up the win. He's going to the finals. He excels his 2020 record to 8 wins and 1 loss. His overall AEW career record is 15 wins, 6 losses, and 1 tie. Darby Allin's AEW 2020 is now at 8 and is now at 5-3 for 2020, and overall he'll be 10-10 and 1 in his overall career. 10 wins, 10 losses for Allin. He's right at 500 for his career. So he's an enigma. He's talented. We like him. He's weird. He's got great vignettes. He blends a lot of his own stuff with, the old Undertaker stuff. He's a huge Undertaker fan. He does his own stuff. He makes new stuff. So good. But right now, he's 10-10. Nothing to really gloat about, but nothing to really get too down about either. Darby Allin, I want you to start picking up some more wins, sir. Maybe you got to know your role and start a little bit lower and pick up some momentum. Cody Rhodes is going to go to the finals. He's either going to be facing his brother or Lance Archer. And after the commercial break, the fourth commercial break, that match with Allin and Rhodes took 2 commercial breaks. Basically a main event status match, which it should be. It's a tournament match. We come back, we get the Scorpio Sky promo, which is going to be, I guess, not done from this one. Meaning there's going to be more segments of him explaining his journey to where he is now. Scorpio Sky, he's giving credit to the rest of his compadres, his friends, his teamwork, his co-workers. Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian. SCU. SoCal. What is it? I forget what it stands for. SoCal Unlimited, I think. You're going to get mad at me for that? Fine, that's good. That's part of the pizzazz of the show. Scorpio Sky's talking a lot of stuff. He's talking about how he feels, when he really started gelling with his 2 partners, and it was during Being the Elite tapings, and they started talking about the worst town they've ever been in, being that's being their promo. He says he winds up saying he wants to be a effing legend. Well, I'm all for it. But he's got to get rolling. I haven't seen him on Dynamite in what? A month? I know there's a lot of things going on, but I don't know where he is. So let's see where he's at. Then we go to MJF. He says that we have been lost without him. The rehab on his hangnail, the doctor, which is the best doctor in hangnail studies, MJF tells us, says that he actually had a miraculous healing, a miraculous turnaround. He's never seen such a miraculous turnaround. MJF has actually over-healed his hangnails. But unfortunately, as he got so excited and started getting ready for TV, when he was shaving, he nicked his neck. He nicked it so bad that he had to wear a big foam neck brace. And now he's hurt again. MJF, good job. Great heel work. Great bullshit. Let's see what you got. Keep it coming, dude. Good segment, funny segment, and we're rolling here on Dynamite. And after the promos, we get Musa versus Mr. Mayhem Wardlow. Musa's coming in this thing 0-1 in his AEW career. Mr. Mayhem Wardlow is coming in 2-1 in his AEW career. That one loss would be to Cody in a cage match. Nonetheless, here we go. And what do you expect, folks? It's a blowout. Musa has one big offensive spot here. He does that. Sort of does one of those handstand flips where his legs go off the ropes and his hands are on the mat. And he propels himself backwards and kicks Wardlow. It only gets Wardlow down to one knee. It's a pretty impressive looking move. But of course, we're talking about Wardlow here. He's a beast monster character. So, kicks him down to one knee. And, it doesn't do enough. But at the very least, Musa gets some type of offense. And he also gets some other offense, gets some punches. But ultimately, Wardlow is in control of this match. And he hits this very different kind of move where the opponent, Musa, is sitting on the top rope. And Wardlow grabs his arm and proceeds to, with so much pressure, with so much force, pull Musa off the top rope and drive Musa's head into Wardlow's own knee. Devastating maneuver. He could have won the match right there, but he didn't. I'm referring to Wardlow. He showboated it with his crazy meanness and gave Musa his official finisher, which is an airplane spin into an F5. I don't know what Mr. Mayhem Wardlow calls it officially, but essentially he does an airplane spin into a modified F5. Why is it modified? Well, because Wardlow doesn't fall down. He just sends his opponent off into the F5 spin without himself falling down. So I don't know if that makes the move a little less effective than when Lesnar does it. I respect the difference of it. He's not just doing the same thing Lesnar does, but if you want to make the move as hard as possible, you might as well do it the way it's going to be as hard as possible. But nonetheless, he picks up the win here against Musa. Wardlow advances to 3-1 in his career. Musa drops to 0-2 in his career. In that case, there are that business on that segment. Next segment on our Dynamite, we get a Bubbly Bunch. Fun stuff. Jericho leads it off, saying the word on the street is, in the internet, Sammy won the Flim Flam. Sammy had the best Flim Flam challenge over Jericho. And he's saying it in a tone that's like, no, we know he didn't. And then Guevara is saying, if there's anybody on the internet that thinks that I didn't have the best Flim Flam, well, I got one message for them. They can suck my big bottle of hand sanitizer. And then we go to Ortiz. You didn't have the best Flim Flam, man. And then we go to Santana. Oh, I don't know about that. Hager. There we go. The Manitoba line starting. Jericho starts. He's like, oh, listen, we just need to get along. We got to stay sharp. We can use this quarantine to stay sharp. Nobody in AEW can beat us anyway. So why don't we just start fighting ourselves to stay sharp? So they start the Manitoba. What does he call it? A Manitoba conga line? I don't know what it is. A melee. A Manitoba melee. And Sammy wants to start it off. Ortiz lets us know, you know you didn't win the Flim Flam. And Ortiz starts it off with a big headbutt to Guevara. Guevara does a bunch of flips. He hits the camera. And then this thing had all types of cameos. Great content. Great segment. You had Luther Rigno in here with a taser. You had Jane Silent Bob. You had a Wee Man appearance. I don't even know if it was the Wee Man from Jackass, but he was nonetheless a small person. That MIDGET word is not looked upon cool nowadays. Who else do we have on here? We just had cameos galore on this thing. The wrestler Luther, Jericho's dad was in this thing. This was a great segment. Awesome, fun stuff, entertaining, great to have because we have no fans in the building. We're going to have so many matches. Excellent segment, fun stuff. Inner Circle, vintage. Good job, appreciated. And we're rolling here on Dynamite. And up next, folks, we got some tag team mayhem action going on. No point intended, no disrespect to Wardlow, but That's what this match was. All 5 of these guys, all 6 of these competitors, really. Penelope Ford, Orange Cassidy, who were not in the match, they were managers. They're obviously becoming the best friends. And Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc. Jimmy Havoc's out first to open up this no count-out, no disqualification matchup. Tag team action. Jimmy Havoc's out first. He's coming out at 4-2 in 2020, 7-7 overall. Kip Sabian's out next. He's 6-6 in 2020, 8-11 overall. Kip Sabian has to up his game. It was amazing. He was able to be in the TNT tournament with these numbers. But nonetheless, he had a chance. He lost. Now it come the best friends. They have won 5 of their last 7 matches. So they're on a hot streak. They're 5-3 in 2020, 9-7 overall as a team. And this match, as I said, no DQ, no count out. This gotta favor Jimmy Havoc. Jimmy Havoc is a havoc. He's a nutcase. He's crazy. He's throwing chairs around this whole match. These guys put on a clinic of pain. They were slamming each other on the base, on the side brim part of the chair, the hardest part of the chair. Atomic drops, DDTs on chairs. Ladders. This match was crazy. This match was off the chain. A lot of risk. Tremendous respect to the competitors involved. And unfortunately, it's going to be, or unfortunately if you're Jimmy Havoc, you took the loss on this one, pal. You got pinned right in the middle. Chair action. You dropped the 4-3 this year. You dropped the 7-8 overall. Kip Sabian goes now under 500 this year. He's 6-7, 8-12 overall now. And it was a hard-fought matchup, but there was so many spots in this match where it just was painfully obvious. Folks, if you're a professional wrestling fan, we're at a place here in this now where it's kind of redundant, the kickouts. It's kind of redundant. We get all these amazing moves and spots in a match that just lead to a false finish. And that's the point. I'm not going to go over all the spots in the match because they're good. They're obvious false finish spots, and they don't need to be. The type of moves that we're seeing, the type of segments that we're seeing, some of these things need to go down as 1, 2, 3. Because they're just watering down the product of not just for a company, but for AEW. I don't want them to start already being able to be placed in WWE territory of just annoyance. And they're coming dangerously close to that. Because I don't care what the main niche of the fans are. All right? If you're in business, you're going to be in business to win. And if we keep seeing matches where basically, somebody can fall off the roof and still kick out, you're like, all right, I get it. Kudos to the human spirit for the creativity. But what kind of what are we building towards with this now? I mean, guys are getting broken in half with the edge part of the chair, coming off the top rope, hitting the edge part of the chair. And that's not enough for the victory. That's not what we're talking about. That's not what we want to see. Yeah, it looks good. I'm not going to turn it off. Not yet. Far from it. That's an understatement. But if you take a pinfall on one of these non-finisher moves for 2 or 3 matches out of 6 matches of the night, well, what that's effectively going to do is get the finishers over that much more when you hit it once. When you hit your finish once, now you got it effectively. It's going to be over that much more. And if you don't understand over, it's a wrestling term for effectively working, like it's believable. It caused a positive ruckus in the crowd. That's what getting over means in wrestling. So if you want to get the finish, the wrestler's finishes over, then you're going to have to start, competitors are going to have to start willingly taking losses to moves that aren't their opponent's finisher. It's a win-win for everybody who's a professional wrestler to do this. Number one, you're getting creativity over in your own genre, in your own brand, in your own living, in your own art form, professional wrestling. You're expanding the creativity of it by doing that. Because then when you hit your finisher, your opponent must be out. Because people get knocked out and get called out for the 3 from moves that aren't even people's finisher sometimes. Because you're in a professional fight. You're in a match. And your goal is to inflict enough harm to your opponent to where you can pick up the victory. When you're doing all these moves that are devastating and technically they aren't your finisher, which is why the person kicks out, you're watering down your product. I love wrestling. But just because you guys get to only wrestle once a week doesn't mean that, we have to water down your moveset by everybody kicking out of everything. Not a fan. I'm not a fan of this. I'm not a fan of that. Am I a fan of the match that the best friends, Havoc and Superbad had? Sure. I'm just grateful Dynamite's on TV every week still. I'm always going to be grateful for that, no matter what kind of thing's going on. I'm always going to be grateful for any programming coming on. Okay? I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get to a whole Dynamite review in this segment that I'm allotted here in this 45 minutes I'm allotted in this time. Okay? Because this is a mental wellness, ultimately. This is a mental wellness avenue of production that happens to talk about other things within it. Why? Because it's about mental wellness. If you can't freely enjoy things you just like because you just like them because you live in this physical existence, well then you ain't about trying to have no mental wellness. You're trying to act like everything's supposed to be rigorous and stern and you can't enjoy nothing and you have to be totally a spiritual Nazi. No, that's not what you're getting here. What you're getting here is understanding. What you're getting here is bonding. Oh, sure. Am I going to go over what way things are optimal? You betcha. Forget you betcha. Yes, I am going to go over what's optimal. But again, does that mean I have to be a spiritual Nazi? No way. Does that mean I can't talk about stuff that comes on national TV if it's not the news? No way. I ain't talking about it. The news is going to be the least thing talked about. Because what isn't news? What in your life isn't news? Everything is news in your life. Everything is news in your life. Best friends pick up the victory in this match here. Jimmy Havoc and everybody was throwing chairs around. People could look like they got hurt. Jimmy Havoc's first thrown chair was the Orange Cassidy on the outside, and that was a tremendous sell job by Orange Cassidy and a tremendous throw job by Jimmy Havoc of the chair. Again, it was Havoc who took the pinfall. Dangerous match. Well, heightened. All matches are dangerous, but obviously when you say no DQ and no rules, those are heightened dangerous matches. Unfortunately, nobody was seriously hurt in this match. Everybody came out all right. And the best friends came out the most all right because they get the victory. They get the momentum. And now they've won 6 of their last 8. They improved to 6-3 in 2020. 6 wins, 3 losses. 10-7 as a team overall in AEW. Congratulations to the best friends. And we're moving along in this AEW Dynamite. We're back from the commercial and Dynamite. We come back to Britt Baker's promo, her vignette. Funny stuff, classic heel stuff. Beautiful woman on the TV screen. We're meeting her makeup artist. Her name is Rebel, as she pronounced it. And of course, Miss Britt Baker is mispronouncing her name repeatedly. Typical heel stuff here. She's mispronouncing the name. She's saying if you got glasses, if you're fat, you can't be a role model. Just traditional old school heel stuff. Britt Baker's doing it well. She's being real Britt Baker-ish throughout this whole thing. Fun segment. Beautiful segment. Good stuff. Next we got Shawn Spears going against Baron Black. I don't even know what his record is. I don't even think they showed the graphic on the screen for Mr. Black. However, Shawn Spears is out with his heavily endorsed by every commentator in AEW new momentum that he has. He's 3-1 in 2020, 9-12 in his career in AEW. Shawn Spears, he's in the middle of a shift. I like the fact that it seems like he's dropped everything related to 10. If you go back in some of my older episodes on Anchor, you'll Anchor the platform for podcasts. You would hear me referencing once AEW debuted on October 2nd, 2019, I was immediately saying for Shawn Spears to drop all things 10 because it was barely cool in the first place, more so annoying, and it screams all things ridiculous PG WWE. So he needed to drop that 16 years ago, and it seems like he's dropped it now. He dominates this match. This is basically a squash match. I mean, Baron Black gets some offense in, but Shawn Spears wins the match via submission. Seems like he got traumatized from losing in the tournament against Cody when Shawn Spears had his shoulders pinned on the mat from being stuck in pain from the figure four. That experience seems like it may have transformed Shawn Spears, because when he puts the sharpshooter on Baron Black at the end of this match, Shawn Spears is in sort of a trance, emotionless but full of emotion trance, and he just wins the match. So I like it. It's a nice shift. Perhaps Shawn Spears can keep on this new momentum. It would be good for him if he does. Obviously, it would be good for AEW if he does too, and that's obvious too, right? Shawn Spears wins the match. He improves to 4-1 in 2020. 10-12 overall. Baron Black, let's hope we have you back to try to get some retribution and pick up a win, maybe. Kudos to the performers in this matchup. We're moving along on Dynamite. Now we got Marco Stunt going against Brody Lee. And the last thing Marco Stunt they play, maybe it wasn't live, maybe it wasn't in sync, but the last thing they play is Marco Stunt talking a bunch of crap about how much can you take. Well, I could take a lot more than that, meaning what he took against Archer. And he says that right before he's got to face Brody Lee. You talk about motivation for Brody Lee. How about it? Mr. Mr. Fun Size is out. He's 4-5 in 2020 somehow. He's 5-11 in his old AEW career. Here comes the Exalted One, Brody Lee. He's 3-0, 3-0, undefeated thus far in his AEW career. Brody Lee wins the match. Stunt probably gets 3 offensive moves, if that. None of them are effective at all. Maybe one kick to the face had about a 6% effectiveness, but that's about it. Marco Stunt is tossed around like a rag doll the entire match. He almost loses via countout. He manages to get back in the ring right after, at 9 3/4. Brody Lee delivers one of the most devastating power bombs to Marco Stunt. Jericho called it on the money. It looked like he could have caved Stunt's skull in from the power bomb. After the 3 count, he just tosses Stunt off of him like a bag of garbage. Brody Lee moves to 4-0. Stunt drops to 4-6. And we're moving along on Dynamite.